people to get free, and you can't clog up the lane. Everybody you think dead ain't dead. Pimp C stay getting on my nerves, talking about, come on, man, brother need to be sane. Come on, hurry up with your work, man. He get on my nerves with that shit. He always coming to me telling me, come on, man, you know how it is. A pimp need to be seen, man. They can't see me back here. Wherever he hiding out at, extracted is the right word. Wherever Pimp C hiding out at, he don't like it there because he can't be seen how he want to be seen.
Bruh. Man, listen, you really going.
Aaliyah and Left Eye is on Sabi Ranch in Honduras.
Say it one more time.
Aaliyah and Left Eye on Sabi Ranch in Honduras, but not the ranch everybody be going to. He had another one. It's a safe haven. Come on, man. We ain't finna just we tired of losing our good people to rotten shit. We had to come up with a counteroffensive. When we determined that they got a mark on their head to execute them, they not staying. They can say what they want in the public. They can tell the story and slant it however they want in the news. Go back and look at Benghazi at Tupac holding that AK-47, and that'll explain something to you.
Okay.
This shit is global, man. This is deeper than we can talk about because there's so much that people are misled to believe. Right? Ibrahim Traore is not he handpicked by the big mamas in the land. This is why when you see all of the countries a couple days ago, every country in Africa had a hands-off Ibrahim Traore parade. Leave that man alone. I'm telling you, it's the worst thing you can do is murder him right now.
If you touch him, boy, listen, because you got people. I'm telling you, you got the Dessalines energy. You like it's a lot of energy at play right now.
We pushing Patrice Lumumba, Stephen Biko energy. He coming Stephen Biko, Patrice Lumumba, liberate my people energy. He ain't playing. And he ain't that easy to get to. Everybody know that he's doing what's right. Everybody, even the people that don't like him doing what's right, know he doing what's right by his people. That's going to affect all of us.
Yes, sir.
He's Shaka Zulu right now.
I look at him as the embodiment of Ogun, which I don't see them too far apart because he got that.
I'm just saying.
He got that.
I'm just saying. They don't want to see these old goons, these A1 bogarts flying in from all over the place to set the record straight.
Well, it's too late. It's too late anyway because they're already here.
There ain't nothing they could do. It's over with. The old system has fallen. Babylon fell in your face, but you didn't see it because you thought that it was going to look different. You still waiting on a stringy hair hippie on a cloud to come surfing down with a Philharmonic Orchestra and another cloud following him, playing We Shall Overcome as he ride down to save all our souls from being sinners. That ain't going to never happen.
That revolution ain't televised. This the real revolution, and nigga is here for everybody.
I tell them my revolution might not be televised, but this show gonna play the fuck out on social media.
Yes, sir. Yeah, boy.
Look, we got soldiers in this struggle over here, right? I start naming them. Phase 1, Yaki Awaken, 19 Keys. I could go on and on with this, but we don't have to keep going there. We just have to be aware that it's over for them. Their time is up. Our time is now. This is the C Nation y'all gonna see. A sea of niggas having Mardi Gras from coast to coast with boots on the ground asking them sisters where your fans at. Because the shit about to hit it. Because these shit kicking boots when they kick this shit straight up to the fans.
Mm-hmm. That part. Yes, sir. All righty then. So, okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Look, The old Mississippians, Mississippi Delta blues is the root to all music that came out of the Americas. Everybody that became a major artist have old Mississippian codes in their music. I don't give a fuck if it's Madonna. I don't care if it's Elvis Presley. I don't care if it's Wayne Newton. All of the big stars that rose up practicing rock and roll, R&B, soul, pop, jazz, bebop, hard bop, ragtime, they all telling us codes in their music that if you ain't no Mississippian, you may never catch.
Okay. So now when we talk about, because we know Mississippi is a major staple in regards to our story, not his story, but our story, right? Especially when we talk about Turtle Island, aka
Mississippi spelled Miss Isis on pie.
That's what I want to get to is like, okay, so when we talk about that, because even the river, what's the significance of the Mississippi River?
The Mississippi River is the lifeline of the land, and it has multiple tributaries throughout the land that feed into it. The Mississippi used to be our commerce travel network. The old Mississippian tribes used to patrol it with boats. They call it river boats now. The river boats used to deliver goods up and down the Mississippi to be taken to the different parts of the land because we ain't had no goddamn grocery stores. These grocery stores got motherfuckers spoiled rotten with this spoiled rotten ass food in them. Right? We didn't have grocery stores. We delivered fresh goods on a regular basis to the local community up and down the Mississippi, and they took it into their community and divvied it up to the people. We ain't had no problem feeding nobody before 1492. We didn't know what homelessness was because we didn't know everybody got a home, because if you can have a house, you can go to Big Mama house. Everybody ain't no orphans. All of the babies belong to all of the grown folks that got some sense, right? So we didn't have that shit. Somebody gonna take you in. And the Mississippi River is where the Mississippi clay dirt formed the humans.
Whew. Oh man, okay. Where the Mississippi clay dirt formed the humans. So now does that go back to like all the way back like to the creation story? Because we was having a little friendly debate. Not, I wouldn't say debate, but conversation on the live I had the other night where I think it had something to do with in regards to who are the real pyramid / or I should say who are the real mound / pyramid builders. So can you kind of share for us, because I think it stemmed from the oldest like who pretty much was the progenitor of humanity, and my take is it was a black woman, and I think there's different names that they call it. I don't know if it's Ardipithecus or whatever Lucy, whatever they call it. But can you kind of tap
Lucy
into
wasn't a human.
Who was okay?
Lucy was a species called proconsul. It was like an ancient chimp. The oldest human was found over here.
Okay.
It was a woman.
What's the name? What's the name of it?
That's
something that's what I was trying to figure out. But it's like that show was a solo show, so it's hard to like do what I could do when I'm on another show with looking up stuff real quick. But I know is the oldest human remains ever found was of a womb man. So that's what I was trying to.
If you go back far enough, you're gonna run out of Y chromosome. The Y chromosome, the male, has only been here about 65 to 100,000 years Earth time. Men ain't always been here. Women used to give birth through parthenogenesis until they put Luna up there to block out and control their menstrual cycles. That's the turn off the parthenogenesis. I'm just saying.
Now that's deep, because that goes back to what we're talking about with the solar cycles and the transformations, because you just said that was all tied to the lunar cycle. So now, does that same lunar cycle energy have any influence on us as a planet, or especially us as a people, where we are now during this transition into the Aquarius?
It took the women a couple thousand years to figure out the energy of the moon and how it was affecting them. Before that, our night sky was not lit up by this current spaceship they call the moon. Our night sky was lit up by a Saturn moon called Lilith. Right? The Lilith moon made everything look like it was under a black light in the nightclub. Everything used to glow. Just the major difference. Heaven was on Earth. Heaven always been on Earth. The problem is that some goddamn devils came to heaven and fucked it up.
And I talked about that too. So now them devils, because to my recollection or my studies, those devils that you're talking about now, that pretty much you haul the moon in from another solar system. Are you, when your story from, let me see if it's the same as my story, but are you talking about the Draconians who came and brought their moon from, was it Maldek, the Maldekians that brought it in here that took control over the Piscean age of the lunar cycle? Is that
that's the story that explains the towing of the moon. They don't have to tow it though. That motherfucker fly. It's a battleship.
Can you share
it's a Death Star.
And there was a movie or a show that was like tied to that, right?
More than likely. They wrote books about it.
Yeah, because I heard about that part before the Death Star, but I know it as the real story that we're talking about, which is those beings who came over here that used that fake moon to. Okay, can you share a little bit of that?
So the Death Star, if you go to Star Trek, this is where you find the Death Star at. It's the ship that Darth Vader rides. Right? That's the Death Star. The moon that we have now was not the original moon of the Earth. The original moon of the Earth is the moon of Saturn, called Lilith. This is why during the dark phases of the moon, the ancient bloodline women become stronger for those 3 days when Luna is darkened out, because they're getting direct Lilith energy. This is why the Jews hate Lilith, because the Lilith energy, it galvanizes the power of the divine feminine, and they want to subjugate the energy of the divine feminine. And so this is why they put the moon up there, because women used to decide when they was going to give birth. Once man was created, once they decide when they going to give birth, they would have about 3 menstrual cycles, right? 2 cleansing cycles and 1 birth preparation cycle, and then they would take on the man to impregnate them, right? They got us under some other shit that's, the women can't control it, so they need birth control. The women can't stop herself from getting pregnant, so she needs an abortion. Ain't none of that shit natural to us. Ain't none of it natural to us. All that is stuff that was imposed on us by people that called themselves the gods. They not gods. They just some technologically advanced beings that had to try to figure out how to conquer the women of the earth. But we ain't gonna never let y'all win if it takes 6,000 years to kick y'all in the ass. I'm the last resort. They gonna call me at the end when everybody else don't get it right, because I'm gonna put foot in their ass up to my knee and walk around with them like shoes.
You ain't alone either.
No, because we come in teams. Everything I'm doing on social media, Ibrahim Traore is playing it out in the 3D world.
And then it's also being played out in the spiritual world. So
it came from the spiritual world first.
Yes, sir.
So we already won.
Yes, sir.
Because we spiritually, in the spirit realm, we've been kicked their ass. Now we just getting the imposters out. Because we don't want to go through this cycle again.
Oh my God, the divine alignment is just so dope. So can you break down these cycles? Because like I said, I always try to be conscientious of like where people are, because we're all in different phases of our our journey on consciousness. So when you break down cycles, can you kind of share what a cycle is in regards to like what we are dealing with in real time, and then where is that going to go once we get through this cycle?
Is every 26,000 years. That's a cycle. It's a yuga. Every 26,000 Earth years is a great yuga. The great yuga is broke up into 4 seasonal periods called ages or eons. And each eon is roughly 6,000 years. And once you finish one cycle, then you have to rewrite a whole new cycle. The last cycle, which brought us through the age of Pisces, was unceremoniously interrupted by warfare. So we all had to adapt our spiritual skills to learn how to fight warfare from the spiritual to the physical. The A lot of what we face with is from ancient wars. These are the remnants. But now, at the close of this cycle, it's the close of the lunar cycle, it's the close of the Piscean age, it's the close of the great wheel cycle of 26,000 years, right? 24 to 26, depending on which calendar we're using. So once the cycle ends, as an eternal being, we have to do a reset. And the reset, it takes place upon mass awakening to the transfer of frequency, right? So we moving from the Piscean frequency where everybody head was underwater and everything you thought you was looking at was slightly off center. Just like looking underwater, what you looking at is slightly off center. When you underwater looking out the water, everything's look murky. This is the pattern of the Piscean age. And as long as stuff is not clear because of the time frame, then you're not really seeing. You have to believe. But once you get beyond belief, where you go to knowing, and the closing of the age, all of them converge. So this is the closing of the 24,000 year cycle. This is the closing of the period or the eon or the age called Pisces, Piscean age. This is the closing of the 6,000 year cycle. The 6,000 year cycle is most critical because the 6,000 years was how long they had before the close of the Great Wheel. And now that it's being closed, everything goes back to the original gods or the original beings in order for them to restore back the balance to everything.
Yep. And that's what brings us back to, the matriarchal, society, being led and being under the nurturing of the mother, and that goes back into the cosmic mother. So, man, this is dope. So regarding the cosmos and the cycles that, we're going through and then like where we are now, what's the timeline that you see with Big Mama, getting ready to go ahead and exterminate and extract these parasites?
I don't get timelines because the time is unpredictable.
Gotcha.
They've altered the frequency for time. So no man know the day or the hour, only the women know. So I ain't finna act like I know something I don't know.
I like that.
But you can see signs of it. All you got to do is watch the fall of America continue to fall, which is the symbol for the fall of Babylon. As you see Trump dismantling the corporation and restoring the people back to the power, then you seeing everything operating the way it's supposed to. Just follow the narrative. And don't participate in their shenanigans because they're going to try to emotionally activate you into negative emotions to try to draw the frequency back down, but they can't stop us from rising.
Man, I love that you said that too, man, because that's another point that I've really been trying to drive home to people that I speak to that I know on a personal level is like, take inventory or take hold of your energy, your intentions, and all the things that you're doing, because right now with this shift, when we talking about Big Mama like exterminating these parasites, let me ask you this, because your opinion might be different from mine, but is there a race or skin complexion tied
No,
to that energy
no,
of the parasite? Okay, thank you,
no.
because that we on the same. Then we on the same page because
It's a
that's something.
vibration in the frequency. Okay. How it's going to work is this. It's going to be what's called the Great Solar Flare. The Great Solar Flare then is going to activate the core of the Earth to send out the parasite cleansing frequency. Everybody that don't belong here, they can't stay here. If you ain't the original people of Earth, and I don't care what skin color you is, because it's original people from all skin colors. But if you ain't from the original people of the Earth, your mitochondria is just going to be turned off unceremoniously. That's like turning your brain off mid-step or turning your heart off mid-step. It's the same. Right?
Yeah,
So it's going to be solar flare, Schumann resonance spike, parasites drop.
bro, that's so dope.
But
I
we get to
promise.
have some fun first.
I promise you. I promise you. I've been sharing that with people for a minute now. But it's the last. I want to ask you this because this is something, especially with you and I. We ain't even known each other a week. Hell, I don't even know if it's been 4 days. But that don't matter because we've known each other for eternities. I feel like spiritually or energetically. But in this present time right now, I've known you for maybe 4 days. I don't know, but whatever. I personally started sharing with people within the last year and a half, year and almost close to 2 years about this is it. This is a wrap. This is the big. I call it the solar system. This is the Super Bowl of the solar system in regards to what we're seeing and witnessing right now on this planet and this extraction.
It's
I,
funny you say that because as soon as it's over, we going to have delegates from places. They going to look so strange to us. But they coming from everywhere because when we liberated the Earth realm, everything that was under Enlil's control was liberated. Galaxies, because they went about in they ship as it passed through other galaxies, conquering, and they just picked the wrong place when they came to Earth.
mm. Oh man, and I'm still keeping it. I'm keeping it quite PG-13 because when I tell you, bro, like that's so dope because I've been saying that, and I think being the type of person, and I'm gonna bring this up too because right now we've been in 2 hours and 32 minutes. We got damn near 1,000 people, about 600 something. But anyway, that's real. But you said something in another interview I was watching the other day, and it resonated with me on another level because I could relate to it. And what it was, you were saying that you don't even like social media. You
Man,
don't
I
like
hate social media with a passion.
you and me both. And that's the thing. But see, I know it's a different level of vibration and different level of beingness because for me, I don't need or want attention, none of that. But I know what I was called to do and I know my gift. So I don't want the problems of not being obedient to Big Mama and to spirit. So therefore I
Look,
have to
I,
what I
I
know.
tried. I tried to run away. I tried to refuse. I had no right of refusal on this one. I didn't want to go on social media. I would have rather went on the lecture circuit than social media. But no, I'm gonna whoop your ass spiritually until you conform to what I need you to do, not what I want you to do. The requirement for me to use social media was to follow the path of least resistance to access the most amount of people using the public domain format in order to meet with the tribal tradition. Where we used to stand in the town square and there used to be somebody that read out the public information several times a day to make sure everybody heard it for a period of time. Now, based on modern legalities or legal systems, we use what's called a timestamp archivable dated format, which has a reach of more than 1,000 people. All social media platforms, whether it be it Facebook, Instagram, MySpace, YouTube, Rumble, it don't matter. They all have more than 1,000 people have access to it. So then it becomes actionable by putting it in the public domain, following the traditions of the tribe. So that's why I use social media. But believe me, I tried to duck this. When them niggas saw slam their doors in my face, I was like, okay, I do what I do. So I don't like social media. I never liked it, but it's a means to an end. And in this particular situation, to get this information to as many people as willing to receive it, I use whatever is required, and I don't have to like it, but I will perform my function because I don't want no more of them spiritual ass whoopings. I'd rather for three big niggas to come beat my ass on the corner than get another spiritual ass whooping. Them the worst ass whoopings you could ever get.
Well, when I tell you, look, when I tell you, when you said that, it resonated with me because I feel you, and I feel the same way because I don't need any of like the fanfare. Like, I don't need or want any of that, but I also know what I signed up to do. So I have to, you know what I'm saying? I have to be obedient to that. But when you said that, it resonated because there's not a lot of people that I personally have seen or listened to or watched their work that has came out and said that publicly. I've said it privately to people who I know personally that I don't like social media and I don't want to be on it because I really don't give a shit about it. But I know I came here to do a job and that job has to be done. And I committed to that. So when you said that, it was dope because like, oh, it's somebody else who feel that way too. But with that, I feel like that's what makes this type of work more honorable because it's not like it's done for the facade or the praise. You know, say all the other foolishness that unfortunately we do have some people who are doing things for that particular reason, right? But that's why I asked the question in regards to how do you feel about the intentions or the energy or the frequency with people right now, and does race or color or melanin matter? Because it really is about the frequency. Because you said something, I don't know how many people caught it, but when you said there are beings who operate in the next level of dimensions or frequencies who are of all colors and races, that's a real thing because now we're talking about energy signatures and we're talking about auric and ethereal and energy existences, which your melanin ain't gonna give you a pass to get to that level of frequency if you on the bullshit. So for that, is it like, can you kind of share just like how real that is and how important it is for us to like really work on operating at the highest optimum energetic frequency that we can in order to get to the next dimension and avoid being part of the extraction or extermination when Big Mama come and do what she do?
Um, from you gotta remember, humans can see less than 1% of the light spectrum. Other beings can see larger chunks of the light spectrum. The physiology of the human is going through a transitional phase. We turn it from carbon based, which give us our shades of brown to bone in color, to crystalline, which will give us a different physiological appearance over time. And in order to meet these needs, we had to have a certain frequency that's vibrating within our biology that allows the mitochondria to feed the DNA to convert the two-strand DNA into a crystalline processor instead of a carbon-based processor. And we will be downloading massive amounts of energy, and we'll be able to have our higher self as a personal tutor. Right. But it's based on your frequency that's going to allow you to adapt. If you are vibrating too low, you're going to have to come back if you're earthborn because you haven't done the self work required to raise your vibration.
Yeah, that's deep. And when you say, it's two questions I want to ask with that. So when you say earthborn, can you kind of share with us what your definition of earthborn is and why that's significant to tonight's conversation?
Everybody on earth ain't from earth. That's just all I mean. Everybody on earth not from earth. You got interlopers. You got usurpers and underminers. Some of them come from a mirror dimension. Their genetics is backwards. They don't have a XY. They have a YX. They don't have a 2X male. They have female. They have a 2X male, right? you can look these conditions up. XY female, XX male. They got names for this stuff, but they from a mirror dimension. That's why they genetics mirror ours upside down and backwards. Everybody ain't from Earth, but the ones who was naturally tied to the Earth, they can't go nowhere else unless they leave by apparatus, right? And the ones who don't belong here, Earth send that pitch out. That's over for them. Should have left when you had a chance. They had a big exodus from Antarctica about a year and a half ago. But they told us that it was a meteor shower. They didn't tell us it was thousands of ships leaving. Because they played the video in reverse.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy? That reminds me of it reminds me of the, I don't know if you saw it or not. I want to say, shit, where was it at? I want to say it was in London about maybe a couple of months ago when they had a very significant, I would say, occurrence in the skies over London to where, and I got this in some of my research for one of the videos I'm going to be putting out in regards to all this we're talking about, but it was like, kind of like the Gayami symbol, but it was like a solar, it was a white, almost like identical version of this, except for minus the two middle parts, where it was like spinning in the sky in London. And it was like
that's a Dyson sphere.
Okay.
That's a Nibiru satellite.
Yeah. And I talked about Nibiru Thursday. Can you share what that's
before, look, when Nibiru is coming closer to the Earth, before they come, they always survey the Earth. And they got other planets that they do that with. The Dyson sphere is a satellite, right? They can actually use it, and they got a speaker system on there. And then they have what's called a telepathic communication system on there where they can talk to your mind without talking with words. And it carries a lot of power. It's the same, it's a biblical description of the angel. The Dyson sphere.
Yeah, that's crazy. Okay, so now for the people who might not have never heard of Nibiru, which I'm pretty sure most people out here probably have, but there might be some people who haven't. Do you mind sharing, like, with the tribe who?
Nibiru is called the planet of the crossing. The scientists got several names for it. They call it Rilo 7. They call it Planet X. The Dark Planet. It's a couple more names. I can't remember them all right now. But it's the second sun in our binary star system. Most of us don't know we live in a binary star system because the second star is got a different elliptical orbit than the Earth sun has. So when it goes through, it comes back at the close of every major cycle. Sometimes it comes back at different times based on the orbit, and it's a ship. They can navigate it, but it's also a sun called the black sun. But it's still another